Today is the 9th day of July, the day before independence. And I want to bring you an in-depth look at what independence look like. And I'm going to call this Abaco style independence. Right here you could see there's no trace of any independence in Abaco. I'm going to bring you inside this multi-million-dollar building that haven't been cleaned since God came off the cross. Inside this building, the air condition haven't been working for 2 months. 2 months. A multi-million-dollar building that's empty is cooler outside than it is inside. And when the PLP was in power, there's a lady here that I didn't like too much, but one thing she did is make sure that when the tourists come and they ask, what's going on with all these flags and these decorations? And somebody will say to her, we're celebrating our country's birthday. But to date, look at it. Tomorrow is independence and we can't even mow it. I did a video shaming them, blaming them on American independence, and they didn't mow the property. $40 million here, and look at the grounds the day before independence. One flag is flying. The grass is still not mowed. The garbage is still there. And there's so many to blame. I'm gonna call them the Eight Horsemen and call them out, because there's not one person to blame on the birth of our country, a new country where the government of the Bahamas has levied a 12% tax on us. So they're collecting over $700 million a year, but we can't get a dollar really to celebrate and to make it feel like an independent country. And there's lots of blame to go around. There's 8 persons that I'm going to call out that ought to be ashamed. I am ashamed to even be called a Bahamian before our birthday. And it is so easy to do the right thing, but so many persons just want that job, but they don't want to do anything. The first person is Darren Henfield, Member of Parliament, that we know not going to be here, but he should have made sure that things are in place. He ought to be here to celebrate our birthday with us. James Albury, Darren Henfield, MP for North Abaco. And I remember during the campaign, I asked one of Darren's cousins to support me. I say, you know, I always take care of the 3 y'all brothers. They say, I am voting for my cousin Darren. I said, but Darren has never been here. He's never did a hand to help in nothing in North Abaco. I've been here and struggling with you guys to the point that I paid $1,500 each for y'all brothers to go to Turks and Caicos to represent the Bahamas on a national tournament. And when I got in the gift shop, the first thing they did was buy Jordan tennis. My bill was $1,000 after spending $1,500 each. And neither one of those brutes today say thank you. And I asked them to support me, because I am going to try to get in a higher position to do more for the district. They say, no, buddy, you're on your own. I'm gonna vote for the guy that did nothing for 35 years, haven't been around. So said, so done, he's still not around. That's Darren Henfield, Member of Parliament for North Abaco. Then we have on the ground here, James Albury. James Albury is the Member of Parliament for South Abaco. And because of the PLP, James Albury is the Member of Parliament for South Abaco, because the PLP was the leading party, they were the ruling party, and James Albury was an American. And Fred Mitchell must have given James Albury Bahamian citizenship, because all his life he was an American, he was never Bahamian, so he could not represent as an American. But there's one gentleman in Mount Sharper that cleaned James off and declared that he's going to be the savior for Marshall. What a huge mistake. Independence in Marshall, where James Albury reside, and the lawn at the Marshall Leonard Thompson Airport can be mowed. James Albury missing in action. Then we got the most braggadocious chief consular that ever hit Abaco, George Cornish. He has held the chief consular position more than anybody in Abaco 3 times. And 3 times he cannot show anything that he's done besides carry people illegally in Baker's Bay bus. George Cornish every day rides to this airport and he sees the condition. He is the head of consul and he has the money and the ability to clean up this place, but he does nothing but drive Baker's Bay. But he wants to upseed Darren Henfield by putting himself forward as the nominee for the PLP. So tell me something. Darren is not here, we know that. George is on the ground. He has just as much power on the ground as Darren Henfield. He want to be member of parliament for North Abaco. He is the 3rd time chief consular, and ask him one thing that he has acted on as chief consular about Marshall, Dundas, and Murphytown. He's the chief consular over all of them. I asked George Cornish what has he done for the last 10 years besides work and carry people illegally for Baker's Bay. God help us if he become member of parliament. If he does nothing now as chief consular 3 times in, what the hell can he do as member of parliament? Then we have Roscoe Thompson. He's the chairman of Marshall. He also is on council. He also should see that this place is cleaned up because they have the power. Then we have the illustrious Farron Newbold that can decide whether he's PLP or FNM on any day. And he is the chairman of Dundastan that believe that he's the only person in Dundastan have brains to do anything and does nothing but hide the $60,000 from October to now from Kai Mills. These are the people that we have in charge. Farron Newbold, he's the one that's backing George Cornish after he couldn't get his way with Darren Henfield. That is the fella that believes that don't care who we support, they will become MP. He's a God unto himself. Woe be unto him. Then we have Gilbert Davis, that's my friend. Gilbert Davis has done such a great job in Murphytown. But again, Gilbert Davis is on the board here for Central Abaco as the chairman of Murphytown. Those 3 chairmen collectively has dropped the ball. Then you have Maxine Mills Duncombe, by far in Kai estimate the worst administrator that Abaco has ever seen. And when they become the worst of the worst, for some reason, the government leave them here to make us look bad. Maxine Duncombe has done nothing but divide the district of Dundastan and elsewhere, acting as not as an administrator, but she believed that she's a commissioner. Those days of being commissioner has been gone long time, but Maxine is the commissioner for Central Abaco. And then we have Hartley Bootle, the manager of the Marshall International Airport. Hartley is hardly here. He's always missing. He walks through the garden and all this garbage and he's done nothing. You imagine, this month is the last month of tourism coming into Abaco. 3 months the air condition haven't been working. Ask Hartley why. The parts are still coming. Where are the parts coming from? Heaven? Jesus is bringing the part? Well, that ain't gonna happen. Jesus is not gonna come on earth to bring no part. And this is what's happening. Abaco style independence. The whole place is a garbage, absolutely garbage. It's giving you an up-close personal view of what the Marshall Airport look like. Mildew everywhere. Grass can't mow. We can't even mow grass under this F&M administration. And everybody think you're trying to shame them. You're just trying to educate them. Look at that right there. That's been piled up there for weeks. You take it up, the grass is dead under it. And nobody seems to think that that's a problem. I do think it's a problem. It's a carpet, it's a forest. You're not supposed to have a forest in your airport coming towards independence. When the tourists come out of customs, they're supposed to get that wow effect. Wow, wow, somebody cares about this country, but not this. Weeks, 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 that is still there. Weeks, all along the corridor, all inside here, because nobody cares anymore about this country. And you guys talking about celebrating independence? Which, what independent? You have to have some decency in order to celebrate. How could you celebrate nothing? How could you celebrate in filth? Nobody has any decency, integrity to call this an independent nation. Are we truly independent? Hell no. When we have to go to the Ukraine for the final answer, and your people could get killed and dismembered, burnt up, thrown in the water, and you go to the Privy Council and say you can't put them to death because that's not the voice of the voice. That ain't the voice of the voice, because it's black people that being dismembered, killed, thrown in the garbage, and burnt, but it's not the voice of the voice. But if it's white people, if it was some of the Crane's family that is getting burnt, thrown in the garbage, then it would be worst of the worst. But because it's our people, the Bahamas people, it's not the worst of the worst. So how could we have true independence when we have non-Bahamians sitting on our high courts? That is not independence. This is what it looks like in Abaco, Abaco style independence. The coconut limbs, the coconut bark is in the road here, being in the road for weeks. Somebody barking coconut there and nobody to pick it up. Kai just saying, y'all decide, are we true independent? Are we a decent country? Not one flag to say that we're independent, nothing, zero. Happy independence. Happy independence to you guys that want to call it independence. Ain't no happy independence to me. Y'all enjoy yourself. Welcome to Abaco. This is what I'm doing. I'm welcoming. Good to have you.